this is really what I want to get into today. Thank you. In the conversation of the Lapbook, the last thing I did was make that ribbon, that 2-pocket band, I guess you could call it, to hold this notebook in. I haven't done anything else for 2 reasons. One, life has gotten in the way. We're dealing with some stuff here as far as my husband's health, which is why I feel like it's really important for me to be in the studio today to breathe and really get knee deep into the creation process. The second reason I've kind of not been able to get back to the Lapbook is that I am a little overwhelmed with this whole original idea and how to deal with all the thoughts that go with that. So that's part of the conversation to have today. How to not let yourself get bogged down and frozen, right? And I'm not a believer that you should really force the issue or push yourself. If it's not time, it's not time. But today, it feels like the time. It feels like if I do anything today, it's to go through all the ephemera that I bought specifically for this project. I have not opened any of these bags since I bought them at the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. So to help with this, getting the juices flowing and getting the mindset kind of back into this creative spirit, I just kind of want to swim in my inventory. Compositions. This is also Blue Fern Studios. I guess the idea with some of these is you can cut these out and make it into a pocket, and then it gives you like this tag. Oh my god, this is going to be so much fun. But this is why I get overwhelmed. Everything you can imagine is real. Picasso, living in color. These are great. I've noticed in my videos that I don't always enunciate my words. In the last art journal video I made, I was saying the word chunky. And the second time I said it, it sounded like junky. Passages, also Blue Fern Studios. What is it that we love so much about these things? For me right now, it's the colors. I'm loving these rose colors with the greens and the blues. The other thing we love, right, are those postage marks. The vintage, of course, we love the vintage. We love those shadows. Right in the back there, you can see the shadow effect, the lines over the top. I try to pay attention to the design and the style, see what it is that I love about it, learn from it, emulate to appreciate. Right, in the background there's a map. You've got the vintage rustic look of the frame around there. Right, it's not a clear image. It's an illustration of the period. There's always some little bit of writing that disappears in the background that you're really not meant to read. And if you look right on top of it, it's very faint, but there's even some white. They almost look like scratches, but I see designs within them. I see a circle and a loop, almost like a leaf there. Okay, 49 and mark it. $49 and mark it. Curator's Meadow Ephemera Bits. Ephemera bits are always fun. Breathe in, breathe out. You know, there's a conversation running through my head about how a lot of this is something we could just make with stuff we have around the house already. That you don't have to go ahead and buy a pack like this. But there's also something to be said for buying a pack like this and being given something that's complete already so that we can focus on how we want to use it. And it also, maybe you would not have thought to stack a couple of papers together with a paper clip. Okay, but here's the conversation from an engineering standpoint of the book, and where do we go next? My concern is when attaching this band, A, how am I going to attach it? And B, how is it going to affect everything else I'm going to do on the pages? So we know I'm going with botanical. I want to lean more towards steampunk, which is why the thought comes about rivets, as far as riveting this in. But I'm thinking, do I have the tools necessary to do that will reach in here? I mean, it's easy to flip it up and rivet that, fold it back down, but then you can't flip that side up to rivet this side down. And will it have enough play on the inside to do what I want to do? Also, if you think about using things like brads that will need to go through the paper and then open up, those are things that you want to do before you're putting down the paper to cover, your covering paper, because then it will help cover those brads, those ends that open up. And I know I have some fabric here that I'm going to want to use. But this is going to have to go over another fabric or paper that I want to use here. God, aren't these gorgeous? These are just so gorgeous. That looks yummy. Wow. Wow, there's a lot of engineering to think about here, because when I open it up, not only is it going to have a background, but it's going to have pockets and stuff. So I think the best thing to do to not overwhelm myself is to focus on one section at a time, because I have an overall knowing that the fun layers of stuff are going to go on the page that's outside the view of the camera here. So when you open up this side, I want to have fun interactive opening pages here, and that when this is closed, it's going to be, these two sides are going to be flat up against each other. So anything I do on these pages are going to have to stay flat. And maybe I should paint over Mr. Quaker there, because I'm tired of advertising for him. So here's a thought. I'm running out of battery on my overhead camera anyway. I'm going to process, because Lord knows you don't need to watch a bunch of that. Do 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 do. All right. As far as you're concerned, I'll be back like this. I am purposefully shooting this in vertical. I'm charging the overhead camera and told you I was going to go think and process. So I had decided to go down into the basement to check out my fabric stash, because working on the cover, I thought in lieu of paper I would like to kind of layer some fabric, especially because I'm using this lace doily on the spine. And I just cannot believe the way the world operates sometimes. And by that I mean when the universe pulls things together. When my girlfriend moved out of her house, she had chairs that, I guess they had metal frames and had canvas that fit over the metal frames to make almost like a director's chair. And I saved the canvas. You know, she didn't know what to do with it because it was stained, right? It has some stains on it. But this is just crazy because the width of this matches. I'll take it off the book again. I've been sitting here going a little crazy. So here's this fabric piece, right? I have no idea how it fit on the chair, but it has some hems where, like, you know, it would slip over things, and I don't know if I don't know, but these flaps on the canvas have like these pockets. And it's a little bit wider, but I think that's okay, but it matches the height of the Lapbook. So I'm going a little bananas here, in a good way, I hope, that to make use of this little pocket on this canvas. So if this is essentially going to be the front, and it's going to open up and open up, what if this had this pocket on that inside cover where I want to create different pockets, right? So let's clip this here and clip this here. There's a natural kind of bend in where the seam is here. See how it's kind of rolling over? But look at how that matches the height. And so now what if I sew buttons, or a button, for this flap to stay closed? It does overhang a little bit on the sides. But then this would flip up, and there'd be more kind of paper pockets here. And over here, this side, I know I'm way down on the edge of the camera there. I'm just so excited. Right? This is, oh boy. Right? This is down here, holding that notebook in. This is here holding that notebook in, and this is the flap that's going to come over on top of it. Right? So how cool, you open it, it's got this pocket, you lift it up, there's going to be more paper envelope pockets, and the notebook with the pen, right? We're going to put a pen here, fold that over. But what that does for me is I fell in love with this green cotton fabric that I was going to put on the cover. But it's not quite wide enough. So I was looking for fabric to make layers. This can create that layer. I would cut off this extra stuff on the sides. Let's clip this here and clip this here. I think, is that where I want it? No. Oh, it's just overwhelming because it's unruly at the moment. But we're going to make this work. I am intent on making this work. Okay, so that inside cover folds in, inside center that needs to stay flat because it's coming together here. So then this is going to be the outside cover. Don't see this, right? And the other side has another pocket. I don't know what I want to do with that. I might cut it at the seam here, use some of this extra canvas to do this other side, and have another pocket for something. But this is the creative process. Okay, so the cover, the other thing about it is now this piece that I want to use, this doily, look how well it matches the canvas besides. Right? So you're looking at the cover, not here, you know, that. Cover with whatever else happens on the cover, opens up, canvas here, which I believe this is 2-ply, so I might be able to cut a slit in there and make that a pocket. And then it opens up, notebook with that and this pocket here. Right, this pocket, which can open up, revealing more stuff. We're going to make it work. We're going to make this work. I'm very excited. See what happens? I'm going to fumble with this a little bit more, and hopefully by then I can go back to horizontal. What does that do? But then you're not going to want that, are you? Are you going to want to cover the canvas? Because I think I like the idea of the canvas. Oh God, that... Maybe I've got to scrap this. Because the doily just matches the canvas so well. Oh my God, guys, look at that. I am really eager to do a little bit more work on this because I feel like if I don't jump in, it's going to sit for a while, and I don't want that hanging on my heart now that I have somewhat of a direction to go into. Things are kind of falling into place, so I want to keep on that momentum. I'm not looking to attach anything to the framework of the Lapbook yet, but I do want to take the fabric now that I know I want on there and trim it better to fit, because the way it is now is certainly too bulky. It won't even, I don't know, it's just too bulky. It needs to be custom fit. And as much as I hate to take apart the work that's already done, I think I'm going to have to do that. I know I want to do that, because the one difference about using fabric in the Lapbook as opposed to paper is thickness. Yeah, I didn't expect to find this canvas, which is 2-ply. Yeah, it's just a little too thick. So we're going to see what we can do to keep pockets, especially we're definitely keeping this inside pocket that's going to flip open. And we're going to keep a slender pocket here, but I think I may have to put a stitch along here and maybe make this single ply across the front. Alright, so what is it that I want to do right now? Since this is the pocket that's only going to flip inside, it can and should be shorter. My intent, instead of using these seams that are already here, so instead of having this beautiful edge that I really didn't want to get rid of, for the pocket here, I'm going to sew a seam down the edge here, and the same with this side, right? Because look, that's almost more than an inch from the edge. And sad to say, I think I may, yeah, the flap that goes over will have to be shortened too. Which, that'll be interesting the way that plays out, because right now, technically, because it has that opening, we could make that into another tuck spot. Oh, you can just get so carried away with the tuck spots. I'm going to keep this seam. The other thing I'm curious about too is what I run up against even using paper when you try and wrap scrapbook paper around a cover, right? I changed my whole binding design with that hollow spine so that the paper could move. So at some point, depending on how I'm attaching this fabric, I have to leave hollow spots so that as you're opening and closing, it has some freedom of movement. So maybe at the spines it won't be glued down, so that when you open it, it could make a little pocket, a little buckle. You just have to watch my hollow spine video. Okay, so we're only working on this panel up to this seam. Alright, so what am I marking out? I'm marking out where the new end will be. Alright, how brave am I? How brave am I to cut? I want to cut now. I want to cut. I'm going to cut in here and out there. And do I keep going? Yes. I keep going here and here. I'm going to cut this finished edge off. And we're going to, I'm not going to sew up here. I'm going to leave it willy-nilly. Oh, let's just do it, for crying out loud. Yeah, it's just fabric. I'm going to leave some space to let it fray, because I think fraying is going to look pretty cool. You want to encourage fraying. Good morning. It's a new day, and I'm excited about the direction I'm heading in because I made that little adjustment on the material I found yesterday, and I like the way it looks, so I'm eager to keep going. All right, when you open it up, there's going to be a pocket that's going to be in there. Then this opens up. And the notebook is here, and this is what I did yesterday, was trim down the fabric on this canvas that I found yesterday, right? This is going to be a pocket. It opens up. There's a pocket in there, and I distressed the edges so that it fits within the cardboard, the height of the cardboard. Then you open it up, there's going to be whatever the background is going to be, and then there's going to be like maybe other envelopes here that flip up. So I'm asking if I should fold part of that over and just distress one end, which would give me a single ply right along the edge. And then that paper that I just took off and put over here, right? So essentially you would have so that means we gotta do some sewing again. This makes me feel good. If this was professionally manufactured, and this seam, right? See how this seam is straight, and then this seam starts close. It's close. Then it starts going off, and that makes me feel happy. You know that as an amateur fooling around here, my work looks pretty good, I guess. Okay, because this is 2-ply, when I make this cut, I only want to cut the top, this top layer, and leave the second layer to fold over. Yeah, it's going to be interesting too, right? Because in opening this up, if this is going to be a pocket, I can structure that the way I want it to. Oh, my brain is saying, I don't know if I'm ready to think like this morning. This is where sometimes taking a break and just switching over to an art journal, where it's just kind of free-flowing and not thinking and designing, it's good to switch off to that every now and again, because the brain goes, Mayday, Mayday. Oh, my thumb hurts from ripping seams. My thumb, me radio thummy. All right, we've put a stitch on the top, which I think I originally said I wasn't going to do, and a stitch on the bottom. And we've opened up this seam. All right, before I start cutting, let's see how it's measuring up. This top edge, the thought is to cut this top layer off and distress it the way we did with the pouch on the other side. But we are going to keep this second under layer to use that to fold over. See, so this under layer will fold over and be glued in to hold the cover on, and then whatever paper I choose will go over the top and it'll give it a finished look. Oy, 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 oy. Oy, 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 oy. Ah, hi guys. Have I told you lately that I appreciate that you're here? I do, sincerely. And I've been enjoying your comments. Thank you for the comments. I'm having some difficulties. My camera doesn't want to stay upright. I'm going to do it wide so we have a lot of fraying to play with, I think. This is probably a better way to do this. So as I'm sitting here contemplating this inside pocket, I thought to myself, layers. Things look good with layers, and this piece of cotton is thin enough because we can't get too bulky on this side. But if I'm going to make a pocket and to make it more interesting, why wouldn't I throw a little scrap? If I'm going for this layered, scrappy kind of look, here's my thoughts. I'm going to open up the seam that I put here so that I can manipulate the two layers. I'm going to create a buttonhole stitch across the top here, basically like I did this. However, the stitch on the top, when I do it, I'm going to put this piece over the top. I'm going to do that stitch through both layers to seal the top, this top end. So unlike this one, you won't be able to stick your finger up under that seam. That seam is going to be the dead stop. And then create this bottom stitch on just the one layer. That's why I have to open up this seam again, because I need to, hopefully, without disturbing any of these stitches, I'll be able to pull it back. We're going to see. I might be cursing myself for this because the seam doesn't open up on the side. But I think I'm not going that low, because if I'm using this envelope, there's the edge right there. That means the opening for this. Alright, so I'm going to go open up that top stitch and create that buttonhole stitch with this kind of layered on the top, and then we're going to distress the edges. I don't know. There's something formulating in here. I'm going to go work on it and see what comes out the other side. So I just kind of hit pause because I just overwhelmed myself again. I don't know how to show you what I want to show you. So before jumping in to sew this seam that I just talked about, I gave pause because this same panel is the front cover. And I wanted to make sure whatever I was doing was not going to affect my ability to do anything here on the front cover. And I had played with the idea of wanting a pocket for this, but I had remembered images of layered fabric covers, something similar to what's here in this. This is Art Journaling Magazine, Stampington and Company. This artist's name is Shelly Sazama, right? Which made me, look at all those beautiful layers of fabric. It made me pause. And I jumped on Pinterest, right? And look at all the beautiful layers on these covers. Let's see, there was another one. Right, look at this one here. Let's pop that one open. Oh, what a good idea. Look, this is off of a piece of denim, right? Where they use the button and the elastic cord. What an awesome idea. But look at the layers of fabric and different textures. Who's this one? There's no name on that one. But that's why I suddenly stopped and was like, and I put myself in a sense of overwhelm about it. The sense of overwhelm, I think, really comes from time, the time it would take to sew that kind of cover, and going through all my fabric, because I know I have fabric where I could do layers like that. And I want to be in this go, 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 make, 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 and not in this stop and design stage, especially because I feel like I'm in the flow of that stitch I was just about to do. So my thought is, most of that stuff on the cover does not necessarily need to take advantage of the 2 layers of fabric, and that anything would be sewn right on top and through it, so that no matter what I do now should not affect the cover. Welcome to the world of creativity. Or is it more like, welcome to inside the mind of Barbara? Let's take that off. It looks like I got a little drunk in my stitching. It gets a little wide and a little narrow. I don't care. It matches this drunken stitch on this side. Don't try this at home, kids. My fingers under there. If I could just get one hole started, then I should be able to get a scissor in there. Alright, let's just take one more look at what we've got so far, and then I'm going to go edit this video so you can watch it. I really like the clean look of this in regards to that conversation about doing layers on the cover, but that's still open for discussion. Alright, but then when you open it up, you have this pocket here with the envelope in it. Oh my, there we go. So that works out well. And then when it opens, I'm going to shift everything here, right? And when it opens, we have this pocket, Right, if I were to take these out, we've got a pocket. And then there will be stuff here. And then, of course, that whole conversation of the notebook here. Okay. Now you can see why this is just going to take time. And the process of coming up with ideas is all part of the project. This isn't a cut and dry cookie cutter craft kit. This is enjoying the process of coming up with original ideas, seeing what the universe provides for me and how it flows. And I get excited when pieces start falling together. And I get that inspiration to just keep going. Alright guys, I hope you've been enjoying this so far. Thank you for keeping up and watching. Hey, maybe you're coming up with some ideas while you're watching this. Put it in the comments below. We'll see what comes of it. We'll see what... You can always tell after a while. My brain just wants to shut down. We'll see what comes of it. Share your thoughts on our progress so far. Laughs a Lot Studios. Share your thoughts on the progress so far. Enunciating. Oh God, love you guys. Mwah. Laugh at life. Laugh a lot. See you soon.